Writing Sam was a unique challenge. Just in the sense of, on the one hand, it was very much from my personal experience because it's about being a teenager and my memories from that time, as an individual, but also who Sam was and what her experience was, came about as a result of kind of problem solving that we were doing, that Carla and I were doing, just figuring out what the story and what the conflict in the story was going to be. So, by the time we figured out this was all going to take place in one house, and the conflict was going to be between the members of this family, and it had to be kind of irreconcilable differences that would cause serious drama between the members of this family, we started thinking, what form could that take? Could it be that the teenager of the family falls in love with somebody that they're not supposed to and the parents don't agree? And what is the contemporary version of that? And so, we at some point decided that we were going to write Sam as a gay character who had fallen in love with another girl, and what conflict would that cause within the family, right?
And we were excited about that opportunity just because of the paucity of that kind of, narrative in games. And, I remember when we came up with that concept, just being like, oh man, this is gonna be good. We actually get to do this, which is really cool. But anyway, we actually, we had to do a lot of work to make it plausible.
Right. Well, because the other side of it is that I'm the writer on the game, and on the one hand, a lot of teenage experience is universal. But I also, at some point, just had that very clear realization of, okay, I have just signed up for writing a gay teenage girl. Two out of the three aspects of that character are not something that I've actually lived through. And so it was impressed upon me, especially like when I was working at Irrational, how important research was to getting your fiction right, whether it's very practical terms like how something works mechanically, to what the characterization of the individuals in your story might be. And so my process was reading a lot of blogs about people's actual experiences growing up being gay and being female, and reading fiction and nonfiction about people's experience, and doing original interviews with people that I knew in my life, and asking them about what they remember about growing up with these experiences, and being able to actually, ask follow-up questions. And I'm really grateful to all the people who have shared their experiences through writing, and who were willing to share their experiences with me, personally, talking to me into a microphone so that I could refer to it later, which is just a huge leap for someone to take, to talk about their own, coming of age and all of those very personal experiences. But, I couldn't have gone into writing this character with just saying, well, I'll just assume that I'll do an okay job and write it however it seems like I should. And instead saying, you have to take this seriously, and you have to actually reach out to people who have lived it, so that when you're writing this character, it represents the experience of people like her in a way that is plausible and respectful and
authentic.
Yeah, that represents them in a way that doesn't cheapen the experience that they've had by relying on cliches or just kind of your expectations as an outsider.
So that was probably the hardest one we had to record. It was part of the second batch of recording we did. And so I had the script a few days before we did the recording, to kind of read through it all and get a feel for where the story was going. And then we'd met for lunch to go over everything and see if I had any questions before we went into the studio. And I just right away admitted, yep, some part of this script here, I'll be honest, one of these totally had me crying, like straight up, totally couldn't help it. Figuring like, yeah, I had my cry out, it was good, I'll be fine. Get to the recording, it'll be great. Get it out of your system. And as soon as like I read the first word, I was like, no, oh God, I'm gonna start crying again. It's gonna be great. I'm like, hey, I'm a professional voice actress in the studio. I'm gonna totally bawl all over your lines, and it's gonna sound ridiculous and terrible. And we're gonna have to do the take again, and it's gonna sound even worse because now I'm crying. So it actually ended up being one take. Really it's cathartic in a way for me, I think, because it's really, how do I put it? It's really me talking to like specific people. I knew it was going to happen again. I knew it. It's the stupid writing being so on point. Which is definite praise for the character build-up at this point, because I just become so connected with her, and making those parallels all the way along. And then you get to this point where it's like, I know exactly how you feel. Like, I know exactly what you're going through. I mean, it was completely authentic. I mean, I've enjoyed people commenting on the connection they've had to the emotion that's in the character. And this is always the diary I think of, because it's the one that it most got me.